You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 7th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'm calling the business to order. This is Tuesday, October 7th, the first meeting in October for the Common Council. President Tracy Tillman will not be here this evening, so I'll be stepping in for her. She has an excused absence. Please remember to silence all of your electronic devices at this time and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer. Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Beatrice,
Present.
Mr. Culver,
Present.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Dr. Cora,
Present.
Ms. Lee. Present. Ms. Moldenauer,
Present.
Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Mr. President Limsky.
Present.
We have 8 present and 1 absent.
Thank you. There will be no approval of minutes for the last meeting. It was impossible to get those pulled together for this meeting. So the minutes for the September meeting, September 16th meeting, will be available on the October 21st date, our next meeting date. Next item on the agenda are reports of standing committees. Are there any reports from standing committees?
Yeah, Mr. President, I am the liaison to the Arts Committee and also to the LaPorte County Solid Waste District. So I'd like to report on, number one, the Arts Committee being a liaison, and to touch on the new mural that's on Michigan Boulevard that was dedicated last week, Tuesday. And just to say a few words about it, the new mural on Michigan Boulevard is a celebration of partnership of 60 years between Hitachi Global, Air Power US, and Michigan City. A ribbon cutting took place in the 900 block of Michigan Boulevard last Tuesday to celebrate Hitachi's gift to Michigan City. And also, the mural was designed by a gentleman from East Chicago, Flex Molandero. The mural is a gift from the air compressor manufacturer, celebrating the history of Michigan City, from its settlers of the Potawatomi Indians to its manufacturing and commerce companies, and forth into the future technology. Hitachi Global Air Power President Hideki Fujimoto said he hoped the mural would provide Michigan City with a sense of pride and entrepreneurship through the showing of the city's roots and the hope for the future. Gifting this work of art is our way of saying thank you. We are proud to have played a part in that story for 60 years. And I also, and I'm sure the City Council does also, want to thank Hitachi Global for their generosity in paying for the mural and also establishing a maintenance fund to take care of that mural for the future to come. My second comments is on the LaPorte County Solid Waste District. If the public hasn't, it's been in the newspaper the last couple of weeks about a smoldering fires out at the mulch recycling area over in LaPorte by the fairgrounds. And what has transpired over there in the last couple of weeks is on the north side of the compost site, they have large stumps, trees, limbs that have been there for I don't know how many years, but a number of years. And I guess the conditions, according to the fire chief Snyder in LaPorte, the conditions were just right to start this fire, smoldering fire, with the combustion, the oxygen, and the air blowing through past the wood. As of now, all fires are out, and the district committee will be getting together, I believe, either latter part of this week or early part of next week to review everything that's taken place there, and more communications to follow on that. But I just want to bring the city and the council up to date on that.
Thank you, Councilman.
Well,
Are there any further standing committee members or minutes? Hearing none. We can move to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee did meet today. We had a quorum. Councilman Cora and I were both present. There were claims for this month, for this day. One was from the Riverboat Fund 2235 for $37,799.86. This is actually for 2 months, September and October, leases to LaPorte Chrysler for the Dodge Durangos. They are $18,899.93 a month, so times 2, that gave us the $37,799.86. There were no EFT Fund 2235 claims. There was a Rainy Day Fund 2236 claim for $17,425. That was to NWI Asphalt, which did the work the south parking lot to City Hall. Their total bid was for $34,850, but it included a half money or half down, and that's the $17,425. The NWI Asphalt was the lowest bid, and the next lowest was for $9,390 more. So we saved money with NWI. They did a great job. And the total claims for today are $55,224.86. And I'll entertain a motion to pay claims.
So moved.
second,
Moved by Councilman Cora and seconded by Councilman Prispolinski. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Claims are approved unanimously. Riverboat Rainy Day Fund and the Riverboat Fund itself, statement of cash position for October 7th. The Riverboat Fund 2235 shows a ending balance of $5,105,702.49. The Rainy Day Fund 2237 shows a balance of $1,150,065.42. The total for the day is $6,255,767.91. That will move us to reports from boards and commissions. Councilwoman Molnar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an announcement from the Michigan City Sustainability Commission and Northwest Indiana Green Dinks. I'm very excited and pleased to announce our next presentation, which will be happening the first Thursday of the month, which is November 6th at 6:30 p.m. This will be via Save the Dunes Facebook Live, or a Zoom link can be obtained from that's em@savedunes.org. We're going to have a special and unique presenter. His name is Dr. John Lowe. He's of Ohio State University. He's a retired emeritus professor, and he'll be addressing Potawatomi indigenous lands in Chicago and northern Indiana and how we give those proper recognition. And I really invite everybody to join us for that. It's very rare that an Indigenous person, especially from the Potawatomi tribe, will present publicly. So I hope you'll join us. Again, that's on Thursday, November 6th, 6:30 p.m. via Save the Dunes Facebook Live, or you can obtain a Zoom link from em@savedunes.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have a report from Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the Historic Preservation Commission was going to have a workshop on Saturday, but that workshop has been canceled. So if you're going to try to learn about painting your historic house, you're going to have to do it another way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other boards or commission reports? Seeing none, we move to the next item on our agenda for this evening, which is reports of special and select committees. Any reports from special and select committees? Seeing none, we move to reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Good evening, council. Again, Steve Forker, Chief of Police, Michigan City Police Department. Again, just wanted to give off some of our statistics and calls for service for the month of September. In all, the police department responded to 3,504 calls for service. Dealt with 35 loud music and noise complaints, 93 disturbances. We took 415 reports, 205 arrests. Seized 10 firearms. Tickets issued was 330, 76 of those for speeding, 28 other citations, 48 warnings, and 17 local ordinances. A couple of cases or major cases that we've dealt with. We just had a guilty verdict in the 2023 attempted murder case, in which the subject was found guilty of attempted murder and criminal gang activity. I think another charge I can't remember off the top of my head. So again, congrats to those detectives and officers that were brought that case together in Superior 1, again, and found a guilty verdict there. We were recently involved with there was an armed robbery in Chesterton, in which they reached out to us as their suspect was from the Michigan City area. Using our flock camera systems, officers from the afternoon shift was able to locate and apprehend and arrest the suspect in armed robbery in Chesterton. They located him here just the other day. So again, obviously some of that technology getting to work for obviously not only for ourselves, but for our partners in our local communities. So again, just a few things that we have going on. November 8th, we'll be putting information on our social media. We will be doing a hiring date. So we'll be doing physical and written testing for applicants on November 8th at the Michigan City Police Department. Again, I would encourage any and all to submit applications to the police department before then. Again, those can be obtained at the Michigan City Police Department or on our website. Again, we'll be posting to our social media for that. Again, we're currently seeking applications for 3 due to retirements that we've had over the summer. So that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Welcome, Mayor.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I got a couple of updates. First, I did just pass out, I just got this around 5:30. I'll email it to you as well. It's from Phoenix Construction Aid. They sent an update, but it was addressed to council members and local residents. So I think they're passing them down now. So I wanted to make sure I printed those and gave everybody a copy. Yeah, and I'll read it, but first I want to give an update on the computer network and where we stand with that. So that we can squash some of the crazy, but still provide updates. So again, we confirmed that the computer network was recently impacted by, it was a ransomware attack, incident. And a portion of our system was encrypted. And again, we're actively restoring operations. We had an executive session last week with the council. A forensic investigation is underway to determine the full scope of the impact. It was reported to all the law enforcement agencies within that morning. Because this is an active investigation, we are limited to what we can say. And I shared that with you all previously. There was a demand of Bitcoin, which we have chosen not to engage in any negotiations at this time. And that's where we're at. We're not going to negotiate with the threat actor. Our focus is just on safely securing and restoring our systems and ensuring that the critical city operations continue to function. And again, I know that they're working to give the certain offices their particular files, because again, we have all of our files. So our network is extensive, and I do want to share that. That was one of the things that I shared with the departments when we met with them last week, is that's why it's so important when these departments go seeking software that they don't go out in a silo without including the IT department. Because now we have systems at every single department that are different, that work together. So the complexity of that has, made restoration a little bit, taking a little bit more time and effort, because we're deliberate to make sure that we isolate and secure as we do that. So we're making sure, and our team has been working 7 days a week, and they're working diligently to do that. We're still addressing how it impacts the city. We have an external incident response team. They're leading that investigation. They meet daily. And then Andy Metanic's team, is handling the restoration piece, where they're going from department to department, isolating in that instance. So we'll continue to provide you updates on that, but that's kind of where we're at. And until then, we'll continue to restore the system as we have been doing, and continuing to work. Another update, and thank you. I want to thank former Councilman Paul Privilinski. I know he came in about the tree plantings that are happening. I did reach out to Phil, who handles our trees, because there's a lot of markings that are going on across the city. Residents can opt out to not have those plantings. I'm trying to make sure we have a way to take that information. I know there's a contact form on our website that they can put Forester, but if they just want to fill out their address and just drop it off at the mayor's office, they can do that too. Because there's 5,000 open planting spaces. So if you don't want one and it's marked, let us know right away. We'll get a release out to the radio and to the news media to notify them, so that they don't get planted, because there's plenty of spaces to put those trees. So we don't want to force that on the residents. So we'll get more information out tomorrow for that, because I know there are markings. But I did reach out to him, and he said, yes, we got plenty of other places to put trees. They don't have to go exactly where those are. So he did give me that information. I know that they did a dumpster program out at the airport. That was a pilot trial. But Refuse and Vector are still picking up items on the curb. So if you have things, still put it on the curb, not clean outs. I'm going to say that again, not clean outs. But if people are putting stuff on the curbs, Refuse, they're working overtime this week and Saturday. They'll be working Monday. I know it's a holiday, but Refuse is going to be working. We've offered overtime for Refuse and for Vector for the next couple of weeks, so they will be picking up. We're not calling it a fall cleanup, so people are like freaking out. But no, they're still picking up on the curb. I encourage you not to put it in the alley, though. It's harder to pick up in the alley than it is on the curb. So still call them in. A lot of times, people don't even call things in. They just see it and don't say anything. If you see something, call, fill out a form, give the list of addresses somebody will come out and pick it up. But they will be working overtime for the next 2 weeks. I'm trying to get ahead of it since the leaves aren't really falling yet. But a good storm can come through and the leaves are all down. So while that's not happening, we need to try to get ahead of that. So if you have things, stick it out on curb. We'll get it. Call it in, send in a notification, and somebody will pick it up. And as far as the update, I will read a couple of things. I know that, there's been some contention and some things but one of the things that they shared was local partnerships, and they talked about collaborating with local businesses and union labor organizations. So we did have a meeting a couple of weeks ago, myself with two of the unions and Phoenix, to discuss, the future moving forward. And basically, they're committed to local businesses within a 45-mile radius of Michigan City. That I asked them to expand it. They also asked the unions to provide them with their own contractors within that 45-mile radius to give them some names, and they have provided names of those companies. So to date that are on the project, you have the 210 plumbers, the fire suppression system is local 531 and 669, local 4 bricklayers, local 1165 glaziers, local 1485 carpenters, local 531 electricians, concrete crushing, they have local 150 operators. They have a future commitment from local 20 sheet metal, and then local 81 laborers. So I know over the last couple of weeks and even today that they've been meeting continuously trying to work that out. I know they put out a bid package where they've had several that have submitted bids. So I wanted to make sure you had the copy, so I printed it and brought it down. They're also committed to, they have some people on site, some businesses on site committed to taking Michigan City residents and training them on OJT. And then we have our Indiana Plan students started this week, and they're committed to taking them as well. So that's an opportunity. Those are Michigan City residents. So that's my report. I know we have the budget in front of you today as well. That was pretty uneventful and flat as far as any changes outside of the raises that we talked about in the presentation that we did. So if you have any questions for me.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Councilman Prislinski.
Yeah, as far as the doing the on-site hiring or going out there and applying for a job on site, is that being broadcasted out to the general public for the Phoenix project?
On site?
Yeah, I thought that you just said that folks can go out there and
No,
apply on site.
that's not what I said.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, what I
Correct-
said is
correct.
that they have some people on site that are willing to take, so they're gonna send me that information, that are willing to hire Michigan City residents and train them on site. So they're gonna give me a list of those companies.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, I'll get that information and get that out.
out. Okay, and just a comment, I'm glad to see that Phoenix kind of opened their eyes, in my opinion, and, are sitting down and talking to the unions and trying to get the workers on this project as far as being union workers. I mean, before we were going through all this contention out here at the council chambers, and, Phoenix, they didn't want to do anything. We're sitting steadfast. But I think a little bit of communications and sitting down and talking, when we got this all resolved, and it's time to move on and get this project going. But I'm glad to see all these unions were hired on for this project. Yep.
I did forget something. I know I sent a couple of weeks ago for you all to review. It hasn't made the agenda, something about gas stations ordinances,
Mhm.
but Chief Forker sent me something, I think that's a little bit, a couple of ordinances that I believe are better and more suited, and it's around nuisances versus gas stations. So I will make sure that I forward those to you. And it's really for you all to review them and to take a look at them and get your thoughts on them. Because again, we still have to make sure that we proactively, look for ways to counter crime and gun violence. So I'll send those to you. I just want to make sure that you keep those in top of mind and have those. And if you have any questions or ever, want to do a workshop, we can do that as well.
Councilman Cora?
Mayor Angie, regarding this ransomware attack,
Mhm.
are IT folks comfortable that they can resolve this issue internally without having to pay this ransom?
Yeah, we're confident.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilwoman Mulnau?
Yeah, Mayor Angie, I don't know if this is the time to mention it or not, or waiting to the budget, but I will now. I want to thank you and your department heads for a very clear budget this time. It was really easy to read and understand. And I really want to acknowledge that the per hour positions are much more on the same page. I remember before they were sort of all over the place, so I think that this is a major accomplishment. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you. And the goal really is to have consistency across all the departments, but also having a minimum and a maximum, I think helps because again, you have somebody come off the street making the same amount as somebody who's been here 20 years. So I think it just adds some equity when it comes to that. If someone comes with a lot of experience, I get that. But a lot of times these are entry level positions and you got someone with 20 years experience next to somebody off the street that just got out of high school and making the same amount of money. I think we need to vet them a little bit first. So
I have a couple of questions, but before is there anyone else on the council that has anything for the mayor? I agree with you on this nuisance thing. I think we should locate all of our attention on this locations of where all this nuisance stuff occurs, not necessarily gas stations, because it could move to another area rapidly enough. And I commend Chief Forker for coming up with maybe a better solution for us to look at, or a proposal for us to look at. The thing I'm interested in knowing that you said was Indiana Plan. How many people do we have, local people, that showed up for that?
9 after the drug test.
Ay. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we did have some Mishawaka and South Bend people. We didn't take them. We did, we had a good number. We had 16 and they have to pass the drug test. So we have 9 that are in the plan. And again, what a good opportunity for the ones who are there. I will say that the partners, though, I appreciate the fact that we had several partners that helped to sponsor as well. And then Work One signed an agreement with them this week. They're paying for all their work boots. So we have partners. The goal is we hope to have another class in March as the season starts again, because construction season is going to die off a little bit and then it's going to pick right back up. So for those that are interested in the next class, you have to pass a drug test. And, our goal was to have at least 15 students. But next time we may just have to open it up for, surrounding areas. We just won't pay for the stipend or the boots for them. But at least let them be a part of it and let Indiana Plan absorb that cost.
Yeah, I wish we had had more, but I understand why we don't. And I need to give a shout out again to the IKORCC in Maryville, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio carpenters training facility that's in Maryville. We took a lot of kids there from AK and the high school, and I know that paid out. Some of those kids are there now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listening and you might have missed Indiana Plan, you still can contact them in Maryville at the IKORCC Center. And great training facility and a great way to get into the trade, the skilled trades. And I had a conversation with my brother-in-law over the weekend. Yeah, he's talking about college for his kids, and I'm saying, yeah, college is for some kids is great, but decide what you're going to do while you're there, and never give up on the trades, because the trades, the income you get from the trades, and the annuities and everything, and the retirement you get from the trades, is way better than most of the things you're going to get through a four-year college.
That is true.
So, and especially for Michigan City kids, we have a wealth of kids who could benefit from that. So thanks for trying the Indiana plan, and thanks for your report.
All right, thank you.
Any other reports from departments or officers? We've reached comments from the public. A reminder that you have 3 minutes, and Councilman Mullenhour will be checking your
yeah.
time.
This is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. I oppose that gas station ordinance. They did that in Hammond 2 years ago. They closed all the gas stations in Hammond from midnight to 5 a.m. I think that's discriminatory. I think you're just targeting the Duke, the BP at Michigan Boulevard and School Street. We don't need that here. A lot of people work overnights in the gas station. They depend on that money for their family. My sister, she worked at Lucky Stop for Tony Deek for 18 years. They're both passed away now, but that's what she did. I do mention what Don Przyblinski said, the compost site in LaPorte is reopened just for the residents and the members that we can't haul to Hitchcock Street anymore. So everybody ought to know, so you can take your brush there if you need to. I have a really special public announcement to make. This is coming from American Legion Ski Outpost 451, Sons of American Legion Commander Jason Lambert Novak, bringing back a great tradition that was started by the late Keith Harris several years ago. Wreaths Across America, in honor of our fallen veterans, places a wreath on the gravesite for the holiday season. This tradition is coming back to Michigan City. It's going to be December 13th at 11 a.m. at Greenwood Cemetery. So I think we all remember Keith very well. He was a very good friend of all of ours. He got the COVID and died November 22nd, 2022. And after he died, they have wreaths across America, but right away he's bringing it back. I also want to say, go Wolves, beat the Slicers Friday night, and spoil their homecoming, and go over the next week and beat Crown Point and win our first ever Duneland Conference championship. Thank you. And I think it's really special that we're going to be just getting in the position to accomplish that. I know Crown Points were really, really tough not to crack, so good luck.
Public comments?
Good evening, Paul Przyblinski, 1716 Washington Street. I have in my hands a section of the code that regulates the city council. And I would like to know, for the record, when you changed the format on public comment, was there a vote taken on that?
Mr. Przyblinski, this is comment, not Q&A, so you won't be getting.
Well, it's a point of transparency, Mr. Beatree. I'm asking you a question about the rules.
And I'm repeating, it's public comment, not Q&A.
Okay. There was not a vote taken, and these are the rules that regulate every meeting. Not one time, every meeting. So if you want to change it, you have to vote on it. Every meeting. Because that's what's in the code. The code. Also, this stuff with the computer problem, yes, I had a problem today getting information about work done on my home, and could not produce a hard copy. It's been months since I need this information because I can't put gutters on my house because of faulty work. But I will tell you this, that what we had a discussion with the Public Works Director this afternoon. Thank you, Wendy. I believe she's here. In that I believe we had a mutual consensus that the code needs to be worked on because there's no process. A contractor comes and gets a license, but there's no process if there's a complaint filed on them or even a review process. And I think it's a simple, maybe a couple lines in the code to change. Because as it stands right now, this company is out in the community working. Now, how can you be a contractor and you cannot put a fascia on a house that is square and your corners aren't square? You tell me how you can put gutters on that. I can't put gutters on my house. And I got some of the fascia at an angle. I mean, it's really, and this is the problem. It's a problem for me because I don't have anywhere to go to review his license. Yeah, I see it. Thank you. And that is a problem. One other thing. In the code.
Thank you, Mr. Prisbalinski. You're 3 minutes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Any further comments from the public?
Hi, Ashley Williams, 401 First Street. Hi, Council. Just want to start by saying when you, our council, with the exception of Councilwoman Moldenauer and Councilman Nelson, approved decades of tax breaks for a company worth hundreds of billions of dollars, we felt extremely unheard, taken advantage of, and exploited. You ignored us in numerous desperate pleas to slow down this process with Phoenix, including from our own state senator, Rodney Pohl, and our now outgoing state rep, Pat Boy, who has dedicated years and years to this council and community. For months, construction at 402 Royal Road, Project Maze Data Center has been using scab labor, has moved polluted dirt past our schools and homes, and Phoenix investors has put our health at risk. 402 Royal Road has a long industrial history, decades of heavy metals and chemicals, yet there are no environmental studies, no proof of cleanup, no safeguards for our children or our homes, no thorough accounting of any essential protective measures given multiple FOIA requests that have turned up blank. Now we face another threat. 70 diesel backup generators planned for the site under a permit that is soon to be posted for public comment. And that's just projects, the first phase of the project. At the last budget briefing, we learned that the city has only 15,000 and 3 inspectors to oversee all developments. That means months more of uninspected, contaminated dirt being hauled through our neighborhoods with next to no accountability, and toxic fugitive dust debris that knows no bounds through Ward 6, Tryon Farm, across every ward to the new SOLA development and beyond. To each of our counselors, we've heard you say you felt that there is no room to negotiate with this company, that reopening the tax rates could result in a lawsuit, and that you felt bullied and pressured by the state and Phoenix. It's the same pattern we've seen in Memphis, where Phoenix is the slumlord that leases to Elon Musk. Tonight, as you discussed Title VI, remember, environmental justice is a civil rights issue. Michigan City has already carried the burden of environmental injustice from industrial pollution. If this negligence continues, our federal funding and our community's future are at risk. We call on Alphabet and Google, the Michigan City data center speculated end user, to stop construction, fund a full cleanup, and take responsibility for the harm already done and for the harm that they have been unknowingly exposing us to that may show up in the future directly or indirectly through environmental exposure. This is an environmental disaster and a liability disaster in wait. And we call on this council to reclaim your power, reopen these agreements, and demand fairness and safety for your residents. We know you can do better, so do better. And to our neighbors and those across the street, those who invested their retirement, who grew up there, who are scared because Phoenix investors and others like them suddenly put a data center on your agenda and hid them behind an NDA. You are not alone. You are right to be scared. You are right to know you deserve better. You're right to know you want to live without fear in a safe and healthy community. And that's absolutely not the reality that we are plagued with today. Step up and do better, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, of course, my screenshot goes away right as there we go. My name is John Carrington. I live at 140 Esther Street, and I didn't know it was 70 generators. Wow, I thought it was a lot less than that. Wow. I'm up here tonight because I was just a regular Michigan City resident who heard there was a data center proposed, and I just started listening and getting involved, which I probably should have done a long time ago. You know, all of y'all were probably like me at some point, and you decided you wanted to make a change and run for office. So I respect that. You know, no matter whether we agree or disagree, I just want y'all to know that. So, I was disappointed in the last resolution that passed, the fifth one, I think it was, for the data center, that pretty much seemed to grant Phoenix or the end user, excuse me, basically carte blanche, you know, and I thought that's pretty scary for something that's going up inside the city limits. And so I just decided to become more active. And so I was looking at the thing you're going to talk about tonight, this whatever it is, this amendment that corrects a typo for the two corporations, or the corporation that is apparently going to receive the land that is the Sola development. I don't know if I'm reading this right, but I just would like, I've noticed that like on, well, not necessarily on the Michigan City page, but I've noticed on the EDCMC page, there's a lot of typos, especially in the project maze, and I think maybe they could stand to use a proofreader or something. If you look at some of the promotional materials for Project Raise, there's bad grammar and typos. And so I don't know if this is related to it, but could somebody tonight, if it's relevant or material, please clarify who the principals are between these misspelled corporations? And I saw the warranty deed for the property online, and it says it's going to sell for $10. And that's a pretty low sum for, you know, the You Are Beautiful lot, if you ask me. So it was posted online, and it was the Redevelopment Corporation selling it to these corporations. So I think this is something that, like I said, the matter about the data center kind of got me interested, and it got me and other people looking at stuff, you know, and just kind of wanting to make sure everybody's transparent and on the up and up. And so I'd like, if possible, somebody to clarify who's receiving this land for $10, and you know, is that the right thing? Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's ethical or the right thing to do. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dominic Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive. I was born in Michigan City, and I've been a resident since childhood. I spend the majority of my time as a nursing student at Ivy Tech. I also spend a lot of time volunteering, helping to reduce food insecurity, increase access to affordable housing, and address environmental and public health concerns. I volunteer because I care for my neighbors and my city, so I see firsthand what we need as a community, and it is not a data center. The developers of Project Maze have been disturbing brownfield dirt at 402 Rural Road for almost a year. This spreads dirt that those living and traveling nearby breathe in. This dirt likely includes heavy metals, petroleum, asbestos, and PCBs. Breathing in dirt in general increases inflammation in the lungs and can worsen conditions such as asthma and COPD. In addition, there is no safe level of asbestos exposure. I'm calling on City Council and IDEM to halt construction until we have studies to know exactly where that dirt has traveled, how many of us have been breathing it in since February. Those developers know how many kids are at Krieger and Paladin. They know our demographics and they know our health issues. They don't care. They know that we can't afford this, and they know we haven't seen an insurance or a health and environmental impact plan. They are taking advantage of our brownfields to get our land for cheap, where our most burdened live. That's discrimination, and it puts all of our federal funding at risk through Title VI. They don't live here, we do. As someone who volunteers at a soup kitchen, this impacts all of us, especially those struggling the most. If you're experiencing or have had health impacts because of the data center, contact Just Transition Northwest Indiana. They are taking advantage of our health and our healthcare system by thinking we are desperate. We deserve better.
Thank you. Further public comment?
Hi, Tom Donegan, 205 East 11th Street. Any questions I posted at a rhetorical food for thought for you guys, okay? I wanted to follow up on my suggested crime resolutions from last meeting. Was there any movement on that? Dr. Cora, any movement on your thought of having a crime workshop? You know, I listened to the short-term rental workshop several times to see how a big problem might be solved. I got two takeaways from that. One, the state tied your hands, so aside from increasing the penalty for an ordinance violation, the only other things that can be done are raising registration fees and enforcing town ordinances. The second takeaway I got came from the mayor's comment at the end on June 10th. I listened in disbelief when the mayor told a group of people looking to all of you for help that she doesn't believe it's worth the effort to enforce ordinances because there's no money for it in the city and fines go to the county. Don't believe me? Listen to it again. Regardless of any fine money that comes from writing citations and how they're adjudicated, the point of citing someone for an ordinance violation is not just to make money, it's to enforce compliance, hold people accountable, and make Michigan City a better place. As for citations, maybe one of the town's attorneys can look into creating an administrative process that keeps things out of the county court. It's done in other places. So, if that's the way the mayor feels, that would explain why Franklin Street between Barker Avenue and 11th Street is a disaster area, especially north of Ripley. There's trash all over. Drugs are an obvious problem with vagrants walking around like zombies and sleeping in doorways. There's prostitution going on. There's been 2 shootings so far this year, including a murder. There was an armed robbery less than 2 weeks ago. More than half of the storefronts are vacant, with another one closing up last week. That strip looks more run down by the day, and things aren't getting any better. Mr. Coulter, you spend countless hours working on a problem for your constituents north of US 12. Your ward extends south of US 12, too. Miss Lee, Franklin Street runs through your ward as well. Do you know where the vagrants go to shoot up drugs? Do you worry that a kid might pick up a dope bag and get sick? Miss Moldenhauer, you worry about the environment. Would you worry more about that area if you knew the storm drains are full of trash and that's going into the waterways? Mr. Prisbalinski, at the last council meeting, you said we don't need people panhandling and greeting visitors at 421 and 20. What do you think visitors think when they drive off Franklin Street and see drugged out vagrants laying around? For the rest of you, do you avoid driving on Franklin Street? When's the last time any of you took a walk around? And what's your plans to fix this blight before it gets any worse? Mr. York, since you're here, Flaherty and Collins will be leasing 200 apartments soon. Do you think potential renters will want to live in this mess? And do you think potential business owners want to open shop in the middle of all this blight? There may not be any money in citations, but there's something even better. Safety, law, and order. That's priceless. So I'm issuing you this challenge tonight. Tomorrow I'll be at Franklin and Warren Street from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm inviting the mayor and all of you to come for a personal tour. Come and tell me that Franklin Street is fine the way it is. And let's all remember the mayor's comments from the last town hall. That's why the next election is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment this evening? Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, public comment. Next on the agenda are petitions. Do we have any petitions this evening?
There are no.
Next on the agenda, communications.
Aye.
Oh,
Correspondence, is that better? No? He's saying yes, she said no. No.
He spoke up. Is it on?
Yeah, it is on.
Please make sure you talk.
I don't want to touch it. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on September 29th from IDEM regarding approval of FESOP Administrative Amendment Permit, Indiana State Prison. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on the 24th from Claudia Marciniak regarding the Dana Center. Correspondence was also received on the 24th from IDEM regarding a receipt of air permit application for company Lavender Fields Holding LLC. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on the 23rd. Ashley Williams regarding concerns Project Maze. On September 17th from Mayor Angie Nelson regarding Title VI implementation plan for 2025. That's it.
thank you. Next on the agenda are resolutions. Do we have any resolutions this evening?
There are no resolutions.
Then we'll move to our first ordinance by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, ratifying and reaffirming certain findings, determinations, and designations in ordinance number 4771 regarding the establishments of an economic improvement district and authorizing and approving other actions with respect thereto. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Ms. Tillman's not here this evening, so since I'm stepping in her place, I think it's important for us to realize that this is the SOLA project. This is not Project Maze. This is the project that's adjacent to City Hall. And what this is actually is a correction. A Scrivener's error was made in all the information that we initially got for this ordinance. The partnership in this project was listed as Lakefront LLC. And the business that we're doing business with is actually MC Lakefront LLC as written for the state of Indiana down in Indianapolis. So what it's really doing is making sure that we remove any Lakefront LLC and replace it with MC Lakefront LLC on all the paperwork that has already been approved. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public?
That was what I asked about.
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I have a question pertaining to this. What is the actual timeline on when the city will receive any tax money from this project? That's a fair question, isn't it?
Right ahead.
Or do you want to speak first? Good. I'm sorry.
This is Tommy Kulava from 1316 Ohio Street. That $10 pay that the PowerPoint paid for the land. I think they're also giving the something with this, I think economic development, $450,000 donation. So I think that's part of the deal along with it too. So I think that's, from following the redevelopment commission meetings, that's all I have to say about it.
And would either of you like to address that issue?
This is Alan Cernick. I'm the attorney for the Redevelopment Commission and offices at 2710 Franklin Street, Michigan City. So try to do a real quick legal explanation for why we did what we did and what we're doing. The Economic Improvement District, or the EID, is a tool that's available to the Redevelopment Commission to create another source of funding. In this case, it's a source of funding that would be attributed to or contributed by all the owners of the condos and townhouses and people on the solar project. To make the process for doing that is a petition has to be filed to the council, and then the council can act on that. But the law requires that the petition has to be authored by or requested by private ownership and not public ownership. As you will recall, way back when the News Dispatch building was torn down and the police department was torn down, the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission acquired that property and then paid for the demolition. And it's been sitting vacant ever since. But realistically, Michigan City Redevelopment Commission was the owner of those two properties. So the statute says if you want to create an EID, a petition has to be filed by private ownership. So how do we comply with that part of the statute? We being the Economic Development Corporation, created two private LLCs for the sole purpose of this project. The language of the $10 for that, it was not sold for $10. Every quitclaim deed, every real property deed that I've ever done, it requires by law some mention of consideration. Used to be $1, well now inflation has pushed it up to $10. It's a figure. It's nothing realistic. And that property clearly is worth more than $10. We all know that. I would also add to that, as part of our agreement with the solar developers, they are making a contribution of $450,000 to the city for specific purposes relating to housing. So again, we're not talking $20 here. We're talking about an overall project of which the developer is committing $450,000 for housing in Michigan City, housing needs in Michigan City. Now, the LLCs that were developed were for the sole purpose, and they're very short term. They were done for either to do the petition so we could create the EIDs, but one of two things is going to happen on or about December 10th. One would be if Solar can say that they have their funding in place and they'll be ready to close on the property sometime between now and the end of the year, then those two LLCs will convey those parcels to the solar developers. In the event comes December 10th and Solar does not have their money and therefore are not going to be prepared to close on the project, those two parcels will then revert back to ownership with the Redevelopment Commission. They were created solely for a period of time. I think we said it. We got drafted that for like 180 days, but realistically, 180 days isn't going to be realized. Come December 10th or thereabouts, but sometime before the end of the year, those parcels will either be in the ownership of Solar or they will be back to the ownership of the Redevelopment Commission. As for this, and as for the Scrivener's error, 2 little letters is all that my error created, and I apologize for that. Everything you did in July and in August still stays the same. And if those 2 letters, those corrections. There was also a second parcel, but there was no, I got that one right. So we're okay. But it's just on this one, we just need to put the 2 letters in there and then reaffirming everything else you did at the July and August meetings. And then that's it. So there's nothing, I screwed it up. I'm sorry. There's nothing hunky-dory going on here. It's done and it's over with. You guys have acted on it and nothing has changed from where we were in July and August.
Thank you, Attorney Sirdike, for a very good, very informative explanation.
So if I might add, I'm Scott York, Director of Redevelopment. The reason, so the EIDs, he talked about the ownership and creating the private ownership. Typically, we would work directly with a developer on that and we would assign that property to that developer. There's still a piece that they have to get their financing in place. If we allowed access to that property and it was actually used as collateral to the bank, to get that back would be almost impossible. It would take years and years to get back. The LLCs created a protection mechanism for the city and the Redevelopment Commission, and honestly for the taxpayers and all of you, to make sure that they get their financing in order and that it still created it still gave us access to the EID tool. So we got the things we needed in place to allow them to do their financing, but we actually protected the property. And we did that in conjunction with the Economic Development Corporation because we have a relationship with them with respect to working on projects together. So just a little bit more insight on that and the reason why we did what we did.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman Nelson.
The two properties that you were talking about, one you said you got right. That one on the beacon that says it was owned by the city of. You spoke on two parcels. You said one you got right. The one you got right on the beacon that says it's owned by the city of Michigan City. Earlier you said the development on both of those. So I'm just trying to get clarification on that.
I think there are 4 parcels remaining on that whole solar site.
It just showed 2 on the beacon.
Yeah, well, there's 2 big ones, and then there's the one over in the corner, and then there's the alleyway that needs to be vacated. We still need to work on that one, but the 2 big parcels, because the statute says there has to be 60% ownership, private ownership. But those 2 ownership, Beacon should reflect. The last time I checked, it had MC Lake.
I checked it an hour ago before the meeting.
Okay, I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that question because the last time when we made the corrections and I recorded the 2 deed, and they have been accepted by the recorder's office, making the correction on the Scrivener's error and Clarence's affidavit. You know, it does show, at least when I checked Beacon, it does show MC Lakefront and I'm going to screw it up again. South Lakeside.
It's Lakeside LLC and MC
No,
Lakefront.
it shouldn't be Lakeside. It should be or South Lakeside or South.
Yes, South Lakeside.
Okay, that's the corrected one, and that's already been done. And then the MC Lakefront is the one that was just done. Recorded about 2 weeks ago.
The South Lakeside, yeah, it was owned by the city of Michigan City, from what it says on the beacon.
All right, I'll double check on that again because when I checked it after I recorded and then received the recorded deeds back, I did look on Beacon and they were both there. So I don't know what's changed since then.
Okay, because that would lead to my next question. Like, how are these transferred? You know, how is property transferred to entities like this? Or if
Done by resolution, the redevelopment commission has to, same as the way the council has to, and as a municipality, when you're conveying ownership of property to a non-governmental agency, there needs to be a resolution approving that, specifically stating why you're doing it and what you're doing it for. And again, the resolution the commission approved for the conveyance of these 2 parcels was for the specific explanation I gave before. Short term, it's always we could create or petition for the council to act on creating an EID if that developer was able to come up with the necessary funding such that we would then get to the next level.
And those donations, what are those donations? That goes to the city?
$450,000 will come to the city sometime shortly thereafter closing, right? So if the closing occurs before December 31st, that $450,000 will come to the city sometime thereafter. If the property does not close, the project does not close, no, there's no $450,000.
And then the process starts all over where they would have to.
I'm sorry?
I got it. Scott Eric, Director of Redevelopment. Yes, we would just go back to the drawing board. We can't transfer, let's say, entitlements and things that have already been approved for this development directly to another developer because it'd be a totally different capital stack, a totally different entities that we'd be working with. But what will happen if this doesn't come to fruition, and the date is actually December 19th, that is the deadline. These 2 entities would then transfer, the property would come back to the Redevelopment Commission and basically, yes, Mr. Nelson, we would basically start over. We'd probably put out a new RFP and go out for a new developer for the property. And then we would probably be coming right back up before you to start over. So,
thank you.
Thank you. I think we're still in public comment. Nobody else? Council comment? Councilwoman Molnauer?
Yes, I understand mistakes, but this is something that's extremely significant. So I'm just requesting that more care be done in preparing these documents for us. So because of that, I am in support of development in Michigan City. I'm in support of this project, but I will be voting nay, just so people remember that we really need to look over these very important documents extremely carefully. It's raised all kinds of questions with the residents of Michigan City who are very concerned about who is doing what, when, and why. So, and this goes for a lot of the documents I look at that I get every month. I find typos everywhere. So, to everybody that's sending us documents for whatever the reason, just run spell check. That's something that's extremely easy to do. And I think we're going to be getting much cleaner documents, much clearer documents, and we won't have to keep repeating these processes again. So thank you very much for listening to me. This comes from somebody that used to be an editor for publications in Japan and also used to be an English teacher in the Michigan City area schools. And I am wearing Pat Boy's hat because she formally did this for our city council. So thank you.
Any further comments? Councilman Nelson? No problem. Anybody else? This is on first reading then. This ordinance will go on to second reading in our next meeting. Madam Clerk, next ordinance by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, ordinance or resolution for appropriation and tax rates. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
And this is the ordinance for tax rates. There's a formal public hearing required. It will be this evening. And we will start the public hearing right now. Is there anyone from the public who wants to address this ordinance? Is there anyone from the audience, anyone from the public who wishes to address this for the third time? Anyone from the public? Seeing no one, the formal public hearing has ended. Council comments? Councilman Dabney.
Yes, and I want to make a motion that we not allow for adjustments on third reading of the budget documents. We talked about this in a workshop as well, but I want to make the motion that we do not allow for third corrections on third reading. I'm sorry.
Wouldn't the best time to do that be at third reading?
You put now and lay down the groundwork that we don't have. Done this every year.
Does third reading require 2/3 or unanimous for any changes?
Your code section, I want to thank Councilman Coulter for tipping me off that this might be coming. So your code section reads that no ordinance shall be amended. So it's a little bit awkward because it reads no ordinance shall be amended until it's been read twice. But then it also reads it shall not be in order on the third reading of an ordinance to propose amendments unless by unanimous consent. So I think that the remedy would be that if you got absolutely to that third meeting and then you decided I can't stand this, the motion would be one to recommit, which would be to move it back to a committee for further deliberation until you could present something that was I guess in a form that was ready to move forward. So I think that a motion to say that there will be no further amendments is consistent with your code section in the sense that you typically would not, unless there was unanimous consent to do it, you typically would not entertain amendments during that meeting on third reading. However, I'm not sure that I guess a motion as Mr. Dabney has proposed it would not necessarily prevent someone from making that motion a recommit and saying, let's take this off the table and rethink it if we need to. Does that make sense?
I'm confused because to me,
yeah,
if you went to third reading and someone were to propose an amendment to this ordinance, if I'm running the meeting, I'd ask, is there anyone who is opposed? And if one person said they were opposed, then you don't have unanimous consent and you would say no.
That's correct.
So Mr. Dabney could do the same thing at third reading if he is here by saying, I do not give my permission for this to go.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'm back to Mr. Dabney.
Well, I just want to explain, if we get around to third reading and we do have amendments come up, we are dealing with the essence of time and having to get this thing submitted. And that's why we've always said, if you want to make amendments to the budget, that you did on a second reading, so we have time to make those adjustments and those amendments so that we are allowed to get this thing submitted to the state on time. And this is why we've always done it. And I've been the one making that motion just about every year, not to allow for amendments on third reading.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the proposal to forbid any amendments on third reading to this ordinance. Discussion?
Quick question. And do I need to make this same motion for every single one of the ordinance that are on second reading tonight? Or can I make that motion for all of the ordinances that pertain to the budget?
What's that?
I don't need to hear that.
I think you would need to do it on each line item.
Okay.
I think that I kind of agree with the chair that what you're saying is essentially reflecting what's already in the code. But if you want that formality, I think it would be best to do it on every line item.
Make the motion on every
Yes.
ordinance. Okay.
Yep.
So we could vote on every line item to not allow any amendments on third reading, or we could just wait till third reading and say, I'm opposed, and do the same thing. Because you would not have unanimous consent then. Is that right?
Yes, I would agree with that, because it says it shall not be in order on the third reading of an ordinance to propose amendments unless by unanimous consent. So yes, I think what you're saying is accurate. But then following that language is a line that says it shall be in order before the passage of any ordinance to move its recommitment. So you could, I understand the timelines that you're dealing with, and I understand why this is a sensitive topic. I think no matter what you do, according to the code, there's always the possibility of moving to have it recommitted to returned to a committee to deal with.
Which would stand in the way of, it needs to be done.
Yes.
At our next meeting.
So I think
not recommitted.
Yes, I think the intention of the code is to say we don't want to completely close off every avenue for future discussion where it's needed, but we want to avoid proposing amendments and kind of getting backed into the corner where you're at the very last meeting before this has to go ahead. And somebody says, well, I want this, 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 and this. And now we've got to contemplate all that on the fly. The clerk has to make all the adjustments to everything that's going on. The budget dockets have to be revised. And it's all just because we just kind of thought of these amendments now. And it's just it's almost like it's a tactic, to get what you want. So I think that's why you wouldn't necessarily be able to make an amendment on the floor on the third reading unless the whole council was behind it. However, if you want to take a broader step of saying, I understand we've got timeframes here, but this really needs more work, you still have that motion to recommit that's available. It's just a really big step. So I think the amendments are a little more fleeting and they're kind of easier to sneak in unless you have that language there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and support, so we need to dispose of this. Any further questions by the council? Councilman Prislinski?
Yeah, Mr. President, I just have a question. When is the last drop dead date that the budget has to be submitted to the state?
Mary Lynn?
Hi, Mary Lou Mall, City Controller. Yes, it's actually has got to be on there by November 1st. So we only have one more council meeting before you actually, it has been advertised that you are going to, we're going to put it up for approval on the next council meeting. And that's the last council meeting before November 1st. And then we have a certain 10 days after when you approve it to get it up in the gateway, but it's just, we only have one more council meeting before it has to be uploaded and approved to
Okay.
gateway.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Then it's time for the vote on the motion. A yay vote is a vote in favor of Councilman Dabney's motion and will necessitate six more votes on each one of the next subsequent ordinances. A nay vote will stand in the way of the ordinance. Please call the roll.
And this is on this one, correct?
On this one, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Beatry,
Nay.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you. And this will go on, this second reading of this ordinance will go on to our next meeting for third reading.
Are you ready?
Next ordinance by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year 2026. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Comments from the public on the ordinance?
Yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. Boy, I said, boy, if we really cut back a lot, I don't think had a grievance hearing for the Michigan City Firefighters Local 475 yesterday at the Board of Works meeting. And I was having the president, Mr. Krista Putis, he kind of let us know that Mayor Angie, she eliminated the administrative assistant position at the Michigan City Fire Department. A young lady named Adrienne Fuller. I guess she's out of a job now. And she did our minutes for our meetings and everything. So she's done, I think the executive secretary, Ms. Jenny Klaus, does all that now. I think they have actually the Fire Merit Commission members. They have when they do the written exam for the recent recruit, it's a Scantron, like we at least do when taking the I-STEP. We all took the I-STEP, we were in school, administered it. This might be like a 4-page Scantron. Instead of sending the Scantron out to pay to be sent, the Fire Merit Commission members had to actually hand grade the Scantron to save the money for paying that. I think one way we can really cut back, I think it's way we're paying our sanitary board commissioners stipend way too much. $300 a month. Come on, that's what some of the attorneys are making. I think it ought to be cut down to $150, saying what the Fire Merit Commissioners make. I think that's outrageous. I think another way we can cut back, I think it's long over. I don't know what we're paying to be a member, be a part of, affiliate with NERC and the Northwest Indiana Forum. I'm against regional forum. NERC and the Northwest Indiana Forum, they absolutely not found they have no benefit from Michigan City. They're all about Lake and Porter County. I think it's time we finally secede from NERC and the Northwest Indiana Forum and any other kind of regional form of governments. So that's just my thoughts. Cut those stipends for the sanitary board. The only reason we have a sanitary district in the first place is we're a city of the second class. So thank you.
Anything else from the public?
Good evening. Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. I would like to talk about what you have just done and committed to. No amendments on anything because your intent was already passed on this first ordinance. So does that mean that is your current salary $14,750 a year, or is it $15,734.68? Is that a proposed increase for this next budget? That's a pretty easy question. Is that an increase?
Are you talking about council?
Yeah. I'm asking the question because of what you passed on the first ordinance, the intent on not having amendments, all right? So
That-
you already made an intent
No.
through the vote. All right.
No, you're
I
jumping.
understand
You're
that.
jumping from one ordinance to another.
I'm
I-
asking a
We're
question
asking
for a
public
point
comment on
of
this
order.
ordinance, not the
That the
council.
intent on every ordinance is
No.
to leave it the same as it is. Because you're not allowing amendments, you're bypassing.
No, what we.
You're
if you- if you
bypassing.
carefully listen-
Point of order, please.
You're
Point of order,
bypassing the rules.
please.
If you carefully listen to
wanna see the rules?
what happened, we said that we would not amend on third reading. This is second reading.
Yeah, I understand that. And a lot of times when you're doing the budget, that's.
Point of order, please. Point of order,
You can
please.
amend on unanimous
No,
request on third reading.
To me, your
So what
comments are
you're
mo-
doing is passing the budget tonight.
Anything else from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Dabney.
Yes, I make a motion that we not allow for amendments on third reading in this ordinance.
Second.
Any other questions from or comments from the council? We have an amendment or a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, on the vote?
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Mr. Nuts.
Mr. Nelson,
Nay.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Nay.
Mr. Beatrice,
Nay.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 2, 4 in favor and 3 opposed. 5 in favor, 3 opposed. Amen.
Why didn't they make
Any
it?
further comments from the council? This amendment, this ordinance is on second reading. We'll move on to third reading at our next meeting. Madam Clerk, next ordinance on by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Comments from the public on this ordinance?
Yeah, since we're talking about the salary of the mayor, I would like to have my annual review of the duties of the mayor. And this doesn't only apply to Mayor Angie or the mayor of Michigan City. This applies to every mayor across the state of Indiana. I'd like to read the statute. The mayor shall enforce the ordinance of the city and the statutes of the states. That would include the panhandling and the begging in the streets and the living in tents. We have ordinances that prohibit all that. Provide a statement of the finances, general condition of the city of the common council at least once a year. That's why the mayor's got to deliver a state of the city address every year. Provide any information regarding city affairs that the legislative body requests. Recommend in writing to the common council actions that the mayor considers proper. Call special meetings of the common council when necessary. Supervise all subordinate officers. Ensure efficient government of the city. Boy, we had a cyber attack. That's not very efficient. Fill vacancies in city offices when required by Indiana Code 3-13-1. Sign all bonds, deeds, and contracts of the city and licenses issued by the city. It gives the mayor the authority over the city-owned properties. Approve or veto ordinances, orders, and resolutions of the legislative body under Indiana Code 36-4-6-1. Boy, she should have vetoed those resolutions for those corporate greed mongers at 402 Royal Road. Make appointments prescribed by Indiana Code 36-4-9, 36-4-11-2, and perform all their other duties prescribed by statute. It's the duties of the mayor. When the clerk comes up, I'll review the duties of the clerk.
Any further public comment?
Paul Przwolinski, 1716 Washington Street. I would like to, there are a set of council rules and there are objectives, things that are in there for a reason. In that This subsequent, making a motion on the second reading, not to have amendments on third reading, to me is, pretty, heavy-handed, if I might say. And, also because under the council rules, you can't make amendments on third readings without unanimous consent. So I just want to say that in all my years, I've never seen any heavy-handedness like this at budget time. And I think I have the experience to make the comments to the general public that this is heavy-handed. And whoever advised this kind of activity is definitely not for transparency. So you should read the council rules also, because it might enlighten all of you guys. Thank you.
Any further comments from the public? Further comments from the public? Seeing none. Council comments. Councilman Dabney.
Yes, first of all, I want to address some of the lingo that was just said here. We get together, we have a budget workshop before the budget comes for first reading. So on the first reading, you have a chance to offer amendments if you want. And then after the first reading, when it goes to second, you have another 2 weeks to look at the budget and come to this meeting and offer amendments. So you've had a month. So I don't see that what's heavy-handed about us making this motion to not allow for amendments on third reading. And with that said, I make a motion to not allow amendments on third reading for this ordinance.
Second.
Any further comment from the council? We have a motion. Councilman Linsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, in respect, I know in the first motion that Councilman Dabney made, I voted yes for no amendments on third reading. But then, after I thought about it, and we shouldn't have to, if the council votes on it and they approve it, that's him. But we have to think to ourselves what we're actually doing here. And I know that we want to get the budget down, if that's the concern, to get the budget down in Indianapolis by November the 1st. Okay, we all understand, what that issue is about. But if there's the council members should not give up their right to say, okay, we cannot do any amendments on third reading. And I know that we've had a month to look at if you want to make an amendment or not. I understand all that. But there might be something where a council member is looking at the budget and then you look at it again and something pops up and says, hey, you know what? I want to make an amendment, or I think I want to change something here. So at least I want the opportunity to bring it in front of the council. And at that time, the council can just vote it down if they want to. I don't want to give up my right to not be able to have it on third reading and trying to make decisions on a 70 million or 76, or I think it's a $70 million budget that we have to do here. Thank you.
Ms. Lee?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mary Lynn, what would be the repercussions if we turn the budget in after November 1st?
It would just not be allowed. We would revert back to last year's budget. I mean, that's a hard and fast deadline. So that's never happened that I can recall in my times of being here, but that's a hard deadline that we cannot go past.
Any further questions? Madam Clerk, on the vote for the amendment?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
No.
Mr. President,
Nay.
Mr. Beatrice,
Nay.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Dr. Cora.
Aye.
We have 5 in favor, 4 opposed, 3 opposed.
And this, as for the other, this amendment will, or this ordinance will go on to third reading at our next meeting. Madam Clerk, the next ordinance, second ordinance by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the city clerk, and this is also introduced by Ms. Deb Tillman. Sorry.
Comments on the ordinance? Annual salary for the city clerk?
Tommy Klovic, 1316 Ohio Street again. Since we went over the duties of the mayor, I thought it'd be fun if we go over the statutory duties of the city clerk. This applies to all the city clerks of every city of the second class. The cities of the third class don't have a city clerk. They have a clerk treasurer. They combine the clerk and the controller's office. Unlike cities of LaPorte, the clerk shall serve as the clerk of the common council as prescribed in Indiana Code 36-4-6-9 and maintain custody of its records. Maintain all city records required by law. Keep the city seal. As soon as a successor is elected and qualified, deliver to that successor all records and property of the city clerk's office. Perform other duties as prescribed by law. Administer oaths when necessary in the discharge of the city clerk's duties without charging a fee. Gail, she swore me in a couple years ago. Take depositions without charging a fee and take acknowledgement of instruments that are required by statute to be acknowledged without charging a fee. I actually think Gail should take her 2% raise. I think she fully deserves it. She's been the deputy clerk for many years under Mr. Tom Fetterman, who we all love very much, and she's been just as wonderful in that job. I don't think she should decline her 2%. I think she deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment for the public?
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I concur with Thomas on Gail's, our city clerk's performance and dedication. And I also believe that maybe you should vote on this and maybe amend it up on third reading. And you can ask for unanimous consent under council rules. But also on things that I said the last time is this: whatever it takes, if you have to have special meetings, you can elect to have a special meeting. It's not a crisis. November 1st. It's not a crisis. We've been there before. And if you need to make the deadline, you have special meetings. That's within the call. So, I take light to the fact that you also have not had computers or communications for the last, I think, 2 weeks or 10 days. So I take exception because you don't have them right now. Everything's, by hand, and I don't know if your emails are working or whatever, because I know the phone numbers. I've called several phone numbers that haven't been working. So I take exception to remarks that were made by a council member. Thank you.
Any further comments from the public? Public comments? One more.
Tamiko Smith, 115 Logan Street. I'm just going to speak as a resident or as a worker. I think we gave the council the budgets September 11th. Budget books were delivered. This is my 10th year with the city. Been in this department since I've been here. This is not the first time that no amendments on second reading have been asked for. I believe 6, 7, 8 councils maybe have done these same things. So it's not a transparency issue. What you don't realize is every line of the budget in that book, we do upload to Gateway as advertised. When you do make amendments, once the budget is approved, we have to change those things and upload them. This budget has been very flat. We've had a very robust workshop, little changes, little remarks. Mr. Beatrice, you were there. And I think it's disingenuous or maybe forgetfulness from some council members to imply that, or former council members, in fact, that there's some transparency issue or some heavy-handedness being done. I think it's great consideration for the controller's office when you do make that type of make that type of motion, because it allows us time to get the work done and to get everything uploaded to the state. We do have emails. Our computers are working. They may not be working to the full extent that we need, but they are working and we are receiving emails. So I just think disingenuous is the best word that I can give, but maybe it's the accident or, like I said, a fatal memory loss in what has happened in the last few years with the council and these same type of amendments. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Tamiko. Any other further? Seeing none, council comments. Councilman Dabney.
I'm saying if anybody else had any comments, but I make a motion.
Whoa. Well, it's lighting up. Are you going to wait?
If somebody else had a comment.
Councilman Lee.
Thank you. I do want to remind the public that for this specific ordinance and the previous ordinance, that the mayor did decline a raise, the 2% raise, and for this ordinance, the clerk did decline their 2% raise.
We did too.
Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two things that I also one thing I wanted to remind the public about, and another, just an opinion I wanted to share, is that not only did we have the first workshop where the mayor shared her budget, followed by a city council meeting where she did the same presentation again another time. And then we had our workshop with the city council sitting down with department heads. And then there was a slated second workshop that we canceled because it was unnecessary. It felt onerous to have another meeting that there was no questions to be asked in that meeting. And then second, I am of the opinion that the city officers should be taking their 2% raises. Not all of us will be in these offices for forever. And I'd like to see the people who replace us to have competitive wages. And I'll go into that in the next one, I guess. Thank you.
Councilman Pryzbylewski.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to say that I want to thank the city clerk, Gail Nylob, for her dedication, love for Michigan City, and everything that she does for the city council and getting these agendas ready, getting things ready for the meetings, and being very unselfish of not taking even a 2% raise. And I guess I want to say I want to commend you for that, Gail, but on the other hand, I think you deserve more than 2%. So I want to thank you for that. And, I just want to go back and make a point. And I appreciate the fact, Councilman Coulter, of bringing up all the different, meetings we've had. We've had the workshop. We've had the budget book since September. I understand all that. I'm just looking at it from a principle standpoint. I'm not saying that I'm going to make any amendments to slow this budget down, but I just don't want to have that opportunity taken away from me. And that's why I'm voting the way I'm voting on these amendments being made by Councilman Dabney. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney.
I make a motion not to allow for amendments on third reading on this ordinance.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Dabney and a second by Councilman Coulter, I believe.
Yes.
Any further questions? Madam Clerk, on the amendment?
Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Pardon?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Nay.
Mr. Pryzbylewski?
Nay.
Mr. Beatrice?
Nay.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
And Ms. Lee?
Aye.
We have 5 in favor and 3 opposed.
And this ordinance will move on to third reading at our next meeting. Next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the common council members, and this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Mr. President,
Comment. Public comment.
I have an amendment. You want to have public comment after the amendment or before the amendment?
Go ahead.
Mr. President, I'd like to make an amendment, and that has been presented to the members of the council, and the summary of that is this amendment asks the members of the Common Council also to not take the 2% increase and keep the council salary as the same as last year at 15,426.16 cents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Cora, second by Councilman Prispolinski on the amendment. Discussions to the public.
Yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I have a bone to pick with you, council members. Councilman Beatrice, I'll give you a pass because you hadn't caucused into the council yet. Last January, your very first meeting, you convened, Mayor Angie got up here and she mandated you to give 3 of your top goals that you want to achieve as a council member. I am still waiting to hear them. I know if our senior council member, Paul Prespolinski was still sitting up there, he'd only have to give it to him because I think we all know what his top goal would be as a council member. So I'm still waiting to hear those 3 goals. You teachers, you're late in turning in your homework assignments.
Anybody else in the public?
Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street, lifelong resident of the Second Ward in Michigan City. I would like to thank Thomas for his congeniality and comments, all right? But I will say that, yeah, I have a few priorities, a few. And I appreciate the fact that you're not, or you would not take a salary increase because we have to. One thing that I was told a long time ago when I got not into this ramification, but when I became a union rep and somebody told me, do the right thing, you don't ever have to look over your shoulder. Thank you.
Any further?
Still John Carrington, still 140 Esther Street. I just want to, y'all aren't like volunteers, and I think with the inflation we have and tariffs and things like that, there's nothing noble about being underpaid. And really seriously, there's not. And I don't think anybody on this council or the mayor or anybody is earning too much money unless you kind of think people don't deserve the money they earn. And I know y'all work hard. You give up 2 Tuesdays a month plus your other times, and you have to be here on short notice. Like, we know Tracy's not here. She has an excused absence. You can't just decide not to show up because you've got another engagement. I was the organist at St. Andrews by the Lake Episcopal for many, many years, and I couldn't miss a Sunday. If I was having a weekend in Michigan or Cincinnati, I had to get back to that church by 9 a.m. on Sunday, and I would get up at 3 a.m. to do that. So, and I got paid a lot less than that. But I just wanted to say that I do appreciate the work you do. And like I said, if I was going to complain a lot, I would run for office. So I support the pay increases. Thanks.
Comments from the council? Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. President. So like I alluded to earlier, I'm a big fan of young people getting paid what they need in order to show up. So what does that look like? So not only did we not have a pay increase last year, which hinders the ability of young people to put aside things that would allow them to take this position. For example, let me get to that. So we spend approximately like 10 to 20 hours a week, so maybe about 15 hours a week working on city council stuff. So in 2025, that comes out from 15,426,000. That becomes an hourly wage of about $19.78. For 2026, we're proposing a slight increase of 2%. That 2% increases it by $308.45 to $15,734.67, or an hourly wage of $20.18. If I had to hire a babysitter, I wouldn't be able to pay the babysitter to do city council work. And so in order to have a young mom or any sort of young parent on this body to represent that part of Michigan City, we need to ensure that they're being paid adequately, at least enough to cover a babysitter. So in my opinion, we should take our 3%, our 2% raise, that $300, in order to ensure that the people replacing us have enough money to have this job. Thank you.
Any further comments from the council? On the amendment then to forego the 2%, please call the roll.
Mr. Nelson.
We're voting on the proposed amendment to forego the 2% raise.
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Nay.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Miss Lee.
Aye.
And Miss Molnar.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
This amendment, or this ordinance, I'm sorry, will go on to third reading.
Very important.
And forego the 2% at our next meeting. I'm sorry. I missed an amendment. I missed a motion.
I said we did public comment already, didn't we? I'd like to make a motion that we not allow for amendments to this ordinance on third reading.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dabney, a second by Councilman Cora. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, on the motion to not allow amendments on third reading?
Mr. Prespolinski.
Nay.
Mr. Beatrice.
Nay.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
And Ms. Molnar.
Aye.
We have
We're missing one.
miss. Oh, Joe.
Nay.
We have 5 in favor and 3 opposed.
Okay, and with that being done, this ordinance will move to third reading at our next meeting. And Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, creating section 78-7 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to prohibit smoking within 20 feet from the public entranceway of Michigan City government buildings. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski, Dr. Cora, Mr. Coulter, and Mr.
The authors like to say anything at this point? Councilman Coulter.
I'd prefer to go in a minute since let's have Mr. President.
Councilman Prespolinski.
Okay, thank you. Basically, what it is any city entity, any city building. Right now, it's 10 foot from the doorway where you're allowed to smoke. Now, this will be taking it from 10 to 20 feet. And this is not something that I dreamed up of. This is something that some city employees had raised the issue with, and they are requesting that this be moved back from 10 to 20. I've heard that they don't like to smell the secondhand smoke in the office windows as the breeze blows the smoke into their offices. I've heard that. And other people just don't like walking through the smoke as they come through the doorways, you know, whether it's at the street department, sanitary district, city hall, what have you. So that's why I am backing this ordinance. And the other thing that I'd like to do is make a motion to have this reading on this ordinance on third reading tonight also.
Second.
Maybe I didn't want to use the last.
There's a motion to move to third reading and a motion by Councilman Przybylski, a motion or a support by Councilman Nelson.
On the vote.
On the vote.
Sorry. Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Nay.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. President.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
Any of the other authors have anything to say? Councilman Coulter.
So I worked for the Indiana Department of Tobacco Prevention and Cessation for a year. And in that role, it was my job to connect people with quit resources, as well as to introduce community-wide cessation methods. One of the best things you can do is to help people quit smoking is to remove it from their workplace. So the national average for smoking rates is 11%. In Indiana, it goes up to 14%, and here in LaPorte County, it's 31%. We have one of the highest smoking rates in the country. So what does that mean on the ground level? It means 2 things that I want to talk about. And first, it's that obviously is the health impacts of our employees. We noticed in our budget presentations that our per employee health costs go up $2,000 a year. When you consider that approximately 1/3 of our employees are using tobacco products, that's probably why. Second, 70% of people who use tobacco products want to quit. So how do we help that 70%? So if you think of the 8 people up here, probably all but 2 of us, if we were smokers, all but 2 of us would be looking to quit. So what resources can we give them in order to help them quit? That could be making it unallowed to smoke at work. They'd have to either smoke in their car in the parking lot or across the street to Galveston's, for here would be an example, rather than right outside the window. And that little bit of walking allows somebody to quit. So if you imagine that Daisy and I are working together, Daisy's trying to quit, I try to go out for a smoke break. Daisy's going to come with, and then Daisy's going to buy another pack of cigarettes. She'll be right back to smoking. So by making it where Daisy would have to like cross an entire parking lot and just a little bit less likely to go with, sorry to use you as an example, but you're the closest one. I'd use Dr. Cora, but that's kind of funny. So all of that to get to, I am in the process of submitting an amendment to make this so that there are certain buildings on city property where you wouldn't be allowed to smoke at, City Hall being one good example. But with the computer outages, we've had some communication difficulties and I don't have that amendment ready. So I'd like to make a motion to table this. I'm not sure how that interacts with the motion to move to third reading though.
That's an interesting question for the attorney.
Thank you. So we've moved ahead to third reading, but you have time for comments and motions on third reading. This would actually be a good case example for the fact that amendments are not necessarily favored on third reading, but you can make that motion to recommit, meaning that you would take this back to the drawing board and propose a new formatting of it. And when I discussed this with Mr. Coulter prior to the meeting, I think that the changes that he's proposing are substantial because they're a little bit more sweeping in nature. So I do think that it would be, if the council was inclined to kind of hear him out on this as far as what he's proposing, I think the right move would be to recommit and then come back with a different version. So that said, you have not you've moved to third reading, but that motion to recommit is in order at any time. So I think during this, before there's actually a motion to approve it on third reading, somebody can make that motion and then the council could take up that as to whether they want to do all this right now or they want to
I
take
think
another
before
couple
we
weeks
do any
more.
of that, I'd rather have the public comment because we haven't had that on second reading yet. We've already committed to move to third and now perhaps a table. So is there anything else from the council?
Mr.
Councilman Prisbalinski.
Council President. Yeah, Councilman Coulter, could you just explain your position again of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so the amendment that we have before us, that's not whatever.
Yeah, it's 20 feet.
It's 20 feet. The state requires it to be 8 feet. We can see in this building that people are not 8 feet away from the door where they smoke tobacco products. We're all familiar where it goes out the north side of this building and it's right outside the door. So even the 8 feet hasn't been enforced properly. I'm not sure 20 feet would be enforced properly. The meat of my argument, though, is that in order to help city employees quit smoking, and we know that 70% of people who use tobacco products want to quit. So helping that percent of people to live a tobacco-free lifestyle, one of the best things that we can do for city employees is to require them to not smoke on city grounds. Originally, I was asking to have any smoking anywhere on city property, but that includes beaches and wedding venues, and just it would become a little messy. But in order to help city employees quit smoking, the 70% of people who use tobacco products who would like help to quit smoking, I'm asking to make amendments to make it that you can't smoke on a certain city properties. And I don't have that list in front of me because of the difficulties with the internet and everything we've been having.
I guess I have a question based on what you just said, then that would apply to city employees, but not the public?
It would be city grounds, the city hall.
City grounds for anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to open this up for public comment.
Yeah, Tommy Klavik, I don't think you need this. I think everything you already got is in place. I know they don't need this at the fire department. You know, I was the fire merit commissioner. I even went inside and sniffed out all the women's toilet areas in the Michigan City Fire Department, believe it or not. I did. I went, no, when I was at ANCO, the upstairs women's toilet was the employee women's smoking lounge. So I've been in many women's toilet areas in my life. I blow my whistle, yell, maintenance, man, and I go walking in. I don't think you need this. I think you need to maybe set some other policies, like, you know, at the Fire Merit Commission, we had a policy that if your cell phone made any noise during the course of the meetings, you made a $10 donation. I think it'd be like a $10 donation to the LaPorte County United Way. I think another ordinance I'm trying to get all these abandoned utility poles that we got throughout the site. I know there's an ordinance in Brazil, Indiana. I think we ought to more that has about the abandoned utility poles that all should be removed. I think you should be concentrate on more ordinances like that instead of the smoking, because I think we already have all that. I'm going to ask one of the questions I asked Randy Novak. I bombarded him with all kinds of questions about, that was one of the first things I asked about. The smoking is fine at the fire departments.
Further public comment?
Paul Prisbalinski. I'm a non-smoker. And I cannot remember the last time I had a cigarette. And I want to tell you something that if getting cigarettes to $10 a pack, I mean, anything can work. But I will say this, is that I do not like walking in the city hall and people are gathered underneath the foyer, all right, because inside the 8 feet perimeter. So my thing is this, I make my comments to them about being a non-smoker and it's bad for you, very bad, especially for women. in that I think that you gotta start somewhere. And I can understand, drug addiction is very bad, and nicotine is one of the worst things to give up. It's the next thing to heroin. A lot of people don't know that. I know that. Okay? Nicotine is so bad that in cadavers they have found nicotine connected to their brain. I don't know the correct terminology, doctor. Okay, but to their brain cells. Okay? I do support this. But what I'm trying to figure out here is how we got all these motions and then we got the public comment. But I appreciate it, okay? Especially on this one, okay? Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that at some point that it needs to be put in the council rules. When a motion is made, the public gets a comment on it. I want you to think about that. Thank you.
Any other further comments from the public? Council comment, Councilman Cora?
Yeah, most of the healthcare facilities I work at, they're smoke-free. But having said that, I think making some accommodations for employees who smoke is a reasonable thing. I think this 20 feet I thought was a reasonable compromise, but I'm willing to listen to what Councilman Coulter has and what he wants to suggest. And I think since there is no urgency to this like we had with the budget situation, I think recommitting may be a reasonable option, and you can bring back your ideas and then we can discuss that.
By the council? Councilman Przewalski?
Yeah, so as far as recommitting, how does that process work? So if I want to take back my motion for moving this on to third reading tonight, does that mean I just say I recommit and take that off the table and it stays, that second moves on to third reading in 2 weeks?
So recommitting, so you made a motion to move on to third reading and we voted on it. So we've moved on to third reading.
No, we have not.
But we haven't read it, but we're past second. So I think I would say procedurally, even though we haven't read the thing yet, we're in the process of third reading at the moment. That's where I think that if you make a motion to recommit, that is a motion that says that the ordinance that's being considered goes back to the drafter, whether that's an individual or a committee, for changes to be made, and then we get a new version of it. And then, based on the nature of the changes that are made, if you change something in a kind of a insignificant, immaterial way, I think you can keep it where it is in the process. But there is law out there that says if you change it so significantly that it almost becomes a different ordinance, then you have to return it to first reading. So I think if you're recommitting, it goes back to the drafter, and then you need to see what it looks like. And then we need to decide if we think it's different enough that it goes back to first reading or whether it can proceed from where we're at right now. The other option would be to, that would be almost the same, would be to just table it right now. And then it would pick itself back up at third reading. But I think we'd still have to have the question over whether the amendments were so significant or not. So I think either way you do it, you get to the same place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's not exactly the same place to me, because if we acknowledge or if we move to third reading, then we're in the same position where any one of us can say no amendments and kill the whole thing. It makes more sense if we really want to make a meaningful change in this to recommit it at now before we go to third reading, because then when it comes back, it'll come back on second reading, not third, and we can amend.
No, it'll come back on third reading.
Well, if it comes back on third
We
reading.
vote on it, it'll come back as third reading if it passes for third reading.
Okay, this is a technicality. Right now, this is still at second reading to me. if you recommit now, it wouldn't come back at third reading, it would come back at second, wouldn't?
We voted.
We voted to move it to third reading.
Right. So it's on, so it'll be third reading now.
Mr. President, a motion was made and it was seconded, but we did not vote on going for the third reading.
We did.
I thought we did.
I did not,
vote on it.
I did not instruct her to read this on third reading. We have not read this on third reading yet.
Right.
Voted to go, but it wasn't read on third.
You allow Greg to talk.
That'd be better.
Hold on. Okay, so I agree with you in principle. I agree with you. I like the point that you're making. So I'm going to try to figure out how to. I think just in my mind, the action of the council in voting, there was a motion to suspend the procedural rules and move ahead to, or well, not suspend the procedural. There's a motion to move ahead to third reading. We don't vote on it on second reading, right? There's not a vote on second. It's just a directive by the chair to move it to third. So the council voted to move ahead to third.
Right.
There wouldn't have been a vote. So even though it hasn't been read yet on third reading, I think we've moved ahead to third reading.
Right.
That being said, when you're talking about no amendments on third reading, I think that, like, for example, right now, if Councilman Coulter was to say, I have my whole list of amendments, I want them done right now, and then I want to vote on this tonight as amended, that would be problematic. But that's where I think that motion to recommit helps you, because it doesn't matter whether we're on second reading or third reading right now. We can kick it back to him, and then we can see what the new version of it looks like. And then we can decide what's appropriate as far as where to place it when it comes back on. I just think it gives you more time to kind of situate it correctly for when you bring it back.
Mr. President,
But this is, you're the chair. So, I mean, I can tell you my thoughts on it. I think this is a subject where reasonable minds could differ a little bit on procedure. So in that sense, what makes sense to you, as long as I think we're consistent and we move ahead in a way that complies with the rules, I think you're fine.
Well, what makes sense to me is to do the same thing that we've always done. Whenever we've moved something to third reading, it hasn't been the vote. It's been, Madam Clerk, read this ordinance on third reading. And then we went through the whole process again, and we haven't done that. So to me, if you really want to change this thing, I think you should do the, what was it called?
Recommit.
A motion to recommit. Yes.
You should recommit, and then when it comes back, I don't think we should bring it back on third. I think it should be in second.
Mr. President, I'd like to make it even easier. I'll make a motion to table this till the next meeting.
And then we can argue about whether it's on second or third.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that makes it easier.
Yeah. All right.
There's a motion to table. Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, and I know that, and I know we're going to vote on Dr. Cora's motion here, but what I would like the council to think about, because I'm just going to say it now, is I'm going to make a motion that we table this for a month. Let's have a workshop on this and take time to think about it instead of trying to rush it through here in 2 weeks. Okay, but
that's a friendly amendment and I'll take it. Let's table it for a month.
Okay, so we have a motion to table for 1 month by Councilman Cora, seconded by Councilman Prisbalinski. On the vote. Madam Clerk.
So we are tabling it for 1 month.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Cora made the motion and seconded by Mr.
Councilman Prisbalinski.
Or just the opposite?
No, Mr. Cora with the motion, Mr. Prisbalinski with the second.
Okay, we got it now. And we're waiting a month. All right. Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Miss Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prisbalinski,
Aye.
and Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed. And we're gonna schedule a workshop, and who is doing that?
I will do that. Yeah. This is something close to my heart. So yeah, I can schedule that workshop.
What was the question?
She asked me who was going to schedule the workshop.
Councilman Coulter. No, I'm just saying he wants to make the
I just want.
changes and yeah, so we'll hear what he has to say.
So this ordinance has been tabled for 1 month. Councilman Coulter will call a workshop. And I hope that in 1 month I can remember to resolve the issue of second or third reading.
Mr. Chair, I will give you an opinion on it. I'm interested in this too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, our final ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, amending certain subsections in section 38-33 of the Michigan City Municipal Code regarding the revolving loan fund. And this is introduced by Mr. President.
And would the author have a comment?
The author is going to say what the subsections under number 3. What we want to do with the fund now. And item D, the fund may be used to pay city's annual contract with the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation. The fund may be used as a local match for park and recreational capital projects and or beautification projects, which shall include but not be limited to the proposed Destination Playground project in Fetters Alley. And the fund may also be used as an incentive as a corporate match for businesses donating funding towards park and recreational capital and beautification projects, which shall include but not be limited to the proposed Destination Playground project in Fetters Alley.
Thank you. Public comment on this ordinance.
Good evening, Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I want to say that concerning the 2 references to the playground project in Fetters Alley, I think it is blighting the city in general for other neighborhood parks improvements. About a month and a half ago, I was at the park board meeting talking about Zilla Park in the 2nd Ward. They tore down a under the MOU, and I'll try to make this as quick as I can. Under the MOU, that the school system is responsible to keep the park and grounds in perpetuity, I can't say that word, sorry, and maintenance on any object that was there. They tore down a shelter there and put up a playground device. Well, I just want to say that I think that this language should be expanded to say all city parks in the city of Michigan City to, get donations for, not just Fetters Alley. And then my other question is this: has this money been already allocated out of the revolving loan fund to the city Park and Rec Department? I'd like to know that if that's been done already. But as I said, if you want to pass this, I think it should be amended so all the neighborhood parks are included. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Any further public comment? Seeing none, council comment? Councilman Przybylski.
Yeah, I have a comment in response to Mr. Przybylski's comment. the way it reads, it says the fund may be used as a local match for park and recreational capital projects and or beautification projects, which shall include but are not limited to the proposed destination playground project. So to me, that includes all playgrounds that are in Michigan City. And the same thing as under item F, the fund may be used as an incentive as a corporate match for businesses donating towards park and recreational capital beautification projects, which shall include but are not limited to the proposed destination playground in Fetters Alley. So that means all playgrounds. Thank you.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be really upfront. I attended the last city council meeting via Zoom, so I was here to hear a lot of what was going on and also to vote on those appropriate resolutions and ordinances that were up. But this ordinance really confuses me, so that's what I have to say. I thought the revolving loan fund was set up for small businesses in Michigan City in order for them to borrow money for capital improvement in their properties. So I guess where my mind is really, quite frankly, messed up about this is the city borrowing money from itself to do projects, or have I totally misunderstood what this ordinance is about?
Councilman Pryzbylewski.
Yeah, there was $1 million, and the revolving loan committee had met. I'm just a liaison to the revolving loan committee, so I don't have a vote on what goes on. But the mayor was there, Clarence Hulse was there, and I don't know, Scott Medlin, the new council appointee, was there. And I don't know, I think there's a total of maybe 5 members on that committee. All right. They were all there. There was and we'll just say that there was $1 million in the fund. Okay. And 400, and I'm trying to get the amounts right. And I can get the correct amounts to you, Councilwoman Moldenauer. But anyway, so what has been done is, instead of having $1 million in the fund, there's been a balance of $400,000 left in the fund, and the remaining fund, $400,000 has been taken out to use towards the destination playground. And I think there's 200,000 taken out, put aside to be used to fund the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation. So that's where the funding's at. So the revolving loan committee and the revolving loan program still exists. It's just that the balance was reduced, and there's still $400,000 in that program to be used for small businesses if they want to get a loan from that business, if they qualify to get a loan.
Councilman Nelson.
Just for clarification, how much money is the economic development getting from this?
The Economic Development Corporation is getting in the neighborhood, I believe, of $200,000.
They've already got it, or they en route to get it?
No, they're going to get it. Yeah, I mean, this has got to be passed first. Yeah, it's got to be passed first. Yeah.
Any further comments? Councilman Moldenauer.
I am still very confused, so I would like to make a motion to table this until the next council meeting, please.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Moldenauer, supported by Councilman Nelson, to table for how long?
I said until the next council
Till next
meeting.
meeting?
Yeah.
Madam Clerk on the vote?
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Miss Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Nay.
Mr. Beatrice,
Nay.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and 2 opposed. Table.
This ordinance is tabled until our next meeting. That takes us to new business. Madam Clerk?
There is no new business. There is no unfinished business.
That takes us to comments from the council. Any council comments? Councilman Prespolinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one item I want to talk about tonight. I talked a little bit about it at the last council meeting, and that was about the panhandlers on the south side of Michigan City. And it's been taken up with the city attorney, the mayor, chief of police. All are notified in that it's against the law, it's against the state law, and it's against city law. If you're not on, if you don't, you cannot be on median strips on public highways asking for money. You cannot be on median strips in the city panhandling for money. So 421 and 20, you can't be out there panhandling. And don't give the people money if you do see people out there, because that just encourages them to keep coming back and getting more money. The medians by Myers, the median strips by Menards and Lowe's, those are city-owned streets. So we own those medians and nobody should be on there. Now, the one by Walmart, where it comes out as a triangle right by 421, that belongs to Walmart, so people can stand there. But all the other ones, people should not be there panhandling. Some people may say, well, you know, maybe you're being picky or there's bigger issues to fry in town. But I'm going to tell you, you have one individual standing out there at the corner of 421 and 20, and somebody comes around the corner a little bit too fast, and they hit somebody with a car standing on that median. Now you're going to have a real big problem, and people are going to be asking, why didn't the city get involved? Why didn't the city put an end to this? Well, the city is trying to put an end to it. So that's where we stand with it. It's against city law and it's against state law. And the easy way to stop it all is to stop giving people money. If you take a look at it, you see the same folks out there day in and day out talking on their cell phones and getting out of their cars and going to their posts and collecting money. So maybe some of them do, but maybe some of them don't either. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Council comment? Any further council comment? Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. President. So many of us saw the news today that our state rep Pat Boy is retiring at the end of the week. I wanted to congratulate her not only on a fantastic 14 years here on the Michigan City Council, but also a fantastic 7 years down representing us at the State House. Thank you.
Any further council comment? Councilman Lee.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to our police department and our fire department for helping with this situation over at the pier the other day. Our rescue divers from the fire department got in. So a car drove off the pier and our dive team in the fire department got in there. They were trained on what to do. They broke the windows. They got the people out of there. They were alive at the time. Unfortunately, one person did pass away since. But I want to give a shout out to both the police and fire for their courageous and speedy efforts on getting there.
Anybody else? I have a couple comments. I want to piggyback on what Councilman Lee said. My son is a firefighter, and he's one of the scuba firefighters too. They did a great job. Congratulations to them. I'm sorry they couldn't save both individuals, but one is still alive. I understand. I wanted to thank the mayor and and they're gone now. Mary Lynn, Tamiko, her whole staff, they did a great job in preparing us to make sense of the budget. And I agree with the comments about Gail as well, too. It's just a great job. And with no other comments from me or you, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yeah.
We're adjourned.